short for Xanathy, dude. If I recall
It is.
correctly.
Xanthony.
Yes.
Xanthony.
All right. Well, you guys go ahead and enjoy this game. I'm
All
kind
right,
of jealous.
dude. We're not even 5 hours in. We got it. We can't let the wheels fall off. We're not even
Yeah,
5 hours into this
We
game.
gotta lock in,
Yeah.
JD. We need to lock in.
You owe me an egg, but I'll take that later.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
If Mikey 2-0 Zan, I'll eat an egg. All
Okay,
right.
there it is. There it
All
is.
right, there it is. If
Zan,
not, we'll have to go from there.
but Zan Syed, I'm looking at that color. He's on the Emerald Steel. He's back on the horse
Surprise,
that got him there.
surprise.
Putting the
Yeah.
Jafar Will away.
Yep.
Winning a tournament there, not riding it back up, just locking in with Emerald Steel, as HaZeD is going to be on that Amethyst Sapphire strategy, as he is known to be. Another Blurple player who's true to this, not new to this. You know that this deck, when it's tier 3, they're going to play it. So definitely going to play it when it's basically tier 1. I love to see it.
But HaZeD, he doesn't like doing anything easy. If you know Mikey, he is the master of adding some kind of spice that you'll never understand. he actually was one of the ones that played the 7-drop genie that when you exert stuff, it doesn't unexert. I don't know if you know which genie I'm talking about. But
I know the one you're talking about.
he brought that to an event and did really well with it. So he's always playing some funky stuff, and it's not going to get much funkier than this. So I'm not going to spoil the surprise here, but Zan is rocking his green steel, which we know Zan has many reps on this deck and a lot of experience in the past with this green steel. And clearly it's going well for him. He's already 2-0 in the tournament. And not only is he 2-0, but I saw some of his buddies that he came with that were playing Jafar Wheel. So I'm guessing, he passed down the torch and decided to go with his tried and true. So let's see how it plays out here for him.
But I did have the fortunate pleasure of sitting down with Zan and talking to him about an interview, interviewed him as well, and just kind of get his approach to the game and like pick his brain and talk to him about it. And I have met him. He was at the Lucky Llama as well. And one of the things that I know he prides himself on is being ahead of the game. So he'll he'll try to make the next meta breaking deck, and then he'll bring the deck to beat the deck that he just made, because he knows that he's trying to stay one step ahead. So maybe this iteration of Green Steel or Emerald Steel is probably going to be designed to beat the Jafar Will deck. We already saw that his deck is having the Robin Hood shift line. You don't see that too much in the Emerald Steel with discard. What do you think about that?
I think it's a great choice. I think right now there's a lot of steel decks running amok. And I think Robin Hood is just a great 6 defense character that you can play in the face of, pretty much any steel card. Also really good at just chomping up Smees and things like that. So I think Robin Hood, great addition right now for any steel deck, to be honest. As Mikey starts us off with the Popsicle, does not find the bell. I find that although we're only playing 4 Popsicle, 4 bells, somehow Blurple always has Popsicle Bell on turn 1, but Mikey does not. So
they open Popsicle Bell more than Sapphire Steel open Popsicle Bell with Force Field around. I'm telling you, there has got to be a conspiracy for sure.
When I first saw Mikey playing this, I told him, "How are you going to play Bell with only 4 Popsicle?" And he always hit it. So if you're good, you're good, I guess.
I mean, at the same time, I mean, people who play Diablo Shift, they will hit Diablo Shift with only 4 of the small green Diablos. So the Maleficent Scout, or whatever his code name is, as we are going to lead that Robin Hood. So looking at Mikey's hand, you're not kidding. He's on some items in there. It looks like we have a Tamatoa Happy as a Clam, and we have that lamp. Jafar's so we got a little bit of spice.
The puzzle's starting to unravel a bit. So what do you know about cards like the lamp? What deck is that normally associated with?
Are we going Jafar? Are we Blurple Far, dude? Are we going item Jafar Blurple? I'd love to see it.
Maybe we are going the full Blurple. And we've made it. When I first saw it, I told him, you should have just given me the entry prize and just hung out. But somehow we are in round 3, 2-0 versus Syed.
Nah, and that's one energy, Skinner. And I'm gonna tell you, and I'm personally, I'm getting out of that complete mindset completely. If someone's showing up with an unorthodox strategy, I used to be like, "Hey man, don't do it, just cut it. You're wasting your time." Now I'm like, "Bro, send it, please do it," because you literally don't know what we don't know. There is so many unknowns in this current meta that we find ourselves. I think you just have to encourage people to continue to send, as it looks like we have. Is that a croquet mallet? Good. Wait a minute, dude. We are in the spice bag deeply.
Guys, when I told you it was not going to be the conventional Blurple, I was not joking around, guys. We have Croquet Mallet making its competitive debut here.
and Croquet Mallet, if you don't know, I believe that's a card. You can pop that one and you will gain Rush for the turn. So it does have some application, and it only costs 1 to help fuel your Tamatoa. We did kind of lose a little bit of our a little bit of our bandwidth there, as we are kind of rocking about 80 frames per second right now. I'm sure it'll clear up here in just a second so you guys can see that. But yeah, Croquet Mallet getting some play out here.
For
Items.
sure, yeah. I'm wondering what Zan's thinking right now. You know, he's sitting across. I'm sure he expected Blurple. I mean, most people know Mikey loves the Blurple deck, but when you see Croquet Mallet and the lamp across from you, you must be like,
Right.
what is
You
happening here?
you have to know something because Zan didn't even blink. He didn't even flinch. Maybe that's some gamesmanship. He didn't even pick up the card and read it. There's no
Yeah.
chance Zan knows what that card does. There's no chance. Well,
He's
unless he
like,
does
hey,
that. Maybe he has tried this deck before. He did mention that he has been trying a little bit of blurple items himself. So maybe he has a deep knowledge of what I'm sure he knows the card pool, but just not knowing what a card does and just seeing it and not even flinching a little bit, I think that shows a little bit of sign of your poker face. So I'm definitely picking that thing up and putting some eyeballs on it just to make
there
sure.
you go. Check out your croquet. You'll get your croquet mallets out of their bulk boxes as we play a 4-drop Jafar, who we haven't seen in a hot minute. And we will go ahead and draw 2 cards off the lamp, and we'll get a little croquet action as
Mhm.
we Jafar comes rushing into the Robin Hood. Wow, what a
Look,
turn and a heal. So we're just taking all the items out. So we're gonna rush, we're gonna draw, and we're gonna heal.
look
And this
at that
Jafar is
turn.
just
What?
and this Jafar is just he's trucking.
I'm
He's just
lit,
trucking
dude.
along. He just
That
ate all
is
those items. He ate those items faster than you could eat an Uncrustable right there. He just scarfed them down, one shot all the items, and one shot that
that
Robin Hood.
was insane. Talk about, you did lose a little bit of your card value, and it costs a lot to do that, but that was an incredible turn. And I'm sure Zan is stunned a little bit to see that turn go down the way that it did. You healed, you croqueted, you drew some cards, and you were able to clear a shifted Robin Hood. So that is technically a +2 value in that exchange. And this Jafar says this character gets +1 for each card you have in hand. So he is
Mhm.
quite buff right now after that Jafar's lamp goes off.
For sure. Definitely unfortunate to have him against discard, considering that discard's going to try to keep your hand relatively low.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think that it's still a really cool addition here. And I wasn't able to see if Mikey has a Tamato in his hand, but if he does, he will be getting back whichever of the items he chooses from his last turn. So
And,
let's see.
and he has
Forbidden Mountain says, for what
quite a
it's
bit.
worth, Zan did say he was testing Blurple items with Lamp.
Mhm.
So okay, so maybe Zan's just a step ahead. He's this is his next week's deck that Mikey just happened to pick up a little sooner. So
A little bit early. So you do have that happy as a clam that's up now. But
mm.
you're probably thinking about, I think, how much ink do you have there? I think you have enough ink to play the popsicle, pop the popsicle, and then ink and get back 2 popsicles next turn, or you're just gonna send it right now.
Oh, look at him! What a play! So he actually, instead of playing the popsicle, uses it for ink to play another croquet mallet, then
Mhm.
giving rush to his Tamatoa to take advantage of that exerted Prince Johns. And you know that doesn't happen too often. And now Zan's left with nothing on the table, facing down a Tamatoa, happy as a clam. So, Hayes looks like he's still got a healthy amount of cards left in hand, and a very interesting challenge that Hayes is presenting to Zan right now that I'm sure Zan was not expecting when he sat down here.
Speaking of not expecting when you sat down here, I never would have guessed in 1,000 years that croquet mallet would
Ooh.
be popping off at the top tables of a tournament in this year. I just never would have guessed.
Oof,
Come on,
and
Skinner.
the Hades is another amazing draw here, or not. I don't know if he drew it, but amazing play here, considering
Hmm.
that he's able to put that Robin Hood straight into the inkwell, which means Zan will not get to draw a card off of it, which is quite good here. Essentially, just giving him no value off that Robin Hood.
Absolutely. And you're able to use Tamatoa Happy as a Clam to set up another lamp for free. Your
Mhm.
hand is still quite healthy as you've outmaneuvered your opponent in terms of ink. Zan's hand is still quite good. You have some options, but you haven't really had the opportunity to set up your discard plan thus far, as Hayes has just been one step ahead this entire time, it seems.
For sure. I'm curious to see what I don't have Hayes' list pulled up, but I'm curious to see what his uninkable count is, considering that we've got lamps, we've got Hades, we've got croquet mallets. I would imagine he's playing genies. So, like, that's a
Hmm.
lot of uninkables. And so far, it looks like he's been navigating pretty well, hasn't had any issues with inking, but definitely something to consider. All these cards, although they are really cool, they are uninkable. And there's the genie we just referred to as it draws him an extra card
Oh, and
here.
look at that. Look at this tempo that you can get loose with this genie to reset
Mm,
this Ursula. I was wondering how you're going to clear this Ursula off, and you could do a double whammy. You got a
mm,
super lamp coming in as you're going to be able to
mm,
bounce the Ursula and get the cards in. Wow,
mm.
wow, wow. Tempo all over the place for Hayes as you can get a nice quest in. Let's see if this Tamatoa can keep the value train rolling if you can jam
Mm.
another item into play, and it seems like you cannot.
Yeah, Zan looks like he's just not able to get anything rolling quite yet. I mean, he started off pretty strong, but now just on the back burner as he's facing down evasives, he's facing down Hades, Tamatoa, and a Jafar. So this could potentially be bad news for Zan. And if Mikey is running, I would imagine he would be the big scary evasive Jafar. He
Hmm.
could just burst some lore out of nowhere, which is also very scary. So Zan, I'm
Granted,
sure
yeah,
considering all his options here.
for sure. Granted, there is no whole new world in this color combination, but you could probably get some friends on the other side. You do have a
Oh
ton of
yeah,
singers set up as you
purple has
look.
no issue drawing their cards, so he'll find it.
But that is another Peak Games referee, so you won't be able to do it in the form of an action. But guess what? It's not an action. That
Mhm.
lamp is not an action, and it does equal. It does say draw some cards as well. So we
Look at this
do pump out another lamp here.
for
Shift
free.
Jafar if you want. And you
Wow,
can, since you have Genie up, you can also bounce that Ursula back to hand and just continue this party train. It looks like you are going to go ahead and get the Jafar in after the
there he
quest. I
is.
love that. So you get your 2 lore as well, and you get another 2 lore here. Bounce, draw 2, gain 2. What an incredible turn for HaZeD. He's
Oh my
absolutely
god.
cooking right now.
I'm so happy to even if you know if Hayes happens to lose the next 2 rounds here, the next 2 games here, I'm just happy to see the deck pop off on stream at least once. Like sometimes you see these cool creative decks and then they get on stream and they don't do the thing. Mikey's doing all the things here. I mean, he's done the
Yeah.
croquet mallets, he's done the Jafars, he's done the Tamatoas, the lamps. I mean, he's done the whole work here, and yeah, it's looking pretty powerful at the moment.
Yeah, this one just might be this just too much tempo loss for Zan, who has that Ursula bounce back 2 turns in a row. You
Mhm.
have the we don't talk about Bruno, but Hayes' hand is still quite bulky. You're gonna have to send 2 cards back to hand. I don't even know what the biggest threat here at this current time is, as Prince John is gonna be down, followed by a hypnotize, which
Little
I
draw
think,
two here.
yeah,
Okay,
I
but is it
think
enough? You're out of ink,
you
and
do
there's still
maybe you get a
100
double
characters.
strength here. Maybe you had a
Mhm.
song that you've been trying to get off with this peak, but I just don't think it's enough to clear that amount of lore off the
No,
table.
it's too
So
much.
and you could probably get a challenge in, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to clear this board. As Zan is just doing a little bit of fact finding expedition before we go on into a game 2, as a
Mhm.
scoop is going to come in. So wow, whoo, what a
For sure.
freaking game!
What a deck, huh? So,
Yeah.
yeah, super heads up move from Zan there just to, take a peek in the discard, familiarize yourself, okay, how many of these is he playing? How many of these did he play? And that's all very important information, especially when you're playing against a deck as unconventional as this. You need to know what you're playing against. A lot of
Hmm.
Lorcana is knowing what your opponent has and how to play against it. So, just knowing, okay, this is how many copies of this I ran into, knows, gives kind of sets the expectation. How many croquet mallets is this guy playing? So
Hmm.
but yeah, definitely awesome game there from Mikey and the deck really showing what it's made of, and very cool creation on Mikey's end. I don't know who he used, who he built the deck with, but Mikey's a great deck builder and always creating concoctions, and it's cool to see one of his concoctions come to life here.
Absolutely. I think that's just one of those things, man. And you just, again, always be trying, dude. Always be experimenting. I know the Freedom Gaming team, they are in the lab, they're deck building, they're play testing, they're theorizing. They're not just sitting around, they're hitting the road and they're trying to play these things and having the courage to say, hey, I'm gonna bring Blurple to this thing. And oh, by the way, it's gonna be Blurple items. Oh, by the way, I'm playing Croquet Mallet and Jafar. People might be like, nah, dude, what are you doing? Stop. Why?
So when I first looked, okay, so when Hiram first got rotated and everybody was talking about item decks and stuff like that, I was like, okay, what 1-drop items does purple have, right? Because
Hmm.
Blurple, items could be a thing. And I saw Croquet Mallet and I said, never mind. We can't play this list because all we have is Croquet Mallet, so it's not gonna work. Mikey said challenge accepted, and he says, we'll play the Croquet Mallet. And not only
Yeah.
did he play the Croquet Mallet, it came in effect twice this game and created for some, rushed characters out of nowhere and
Yeah.
absolutely turned the game upside down. So Croquet Mallet earning its keep in this game.
And another sleeper, I mean, that Jafar, that lamp, I mean, when you get
Mm,
the tempo loss from that, from just bouncing the card back to hand, and then the plus value from drawing cards in addition, if you got the Jafar and the Genie set up,
mhm.
that's a devastating. And to have that happen 2 times in a row, I think is very, very difficult to recur from that. Just
Yep.
wasting your turns over and over again while your opponent is advancing their game state. So I think what is Zan looking for here? Do you play a little bit of Emerald Steel? And if you are playing Emerald Steel, how are you going to combat what Hayes was trying to do there?
So I'm not the most Emerald Steel guy. Definitely not anywhere near Zan's level of Emerald Steel. So I would imagine he's just going to try to hang on to cards that are going to help him drain Mikey's hand pretty quickly. Usually these blue decks, when they start doing their ramp effects, they do kind of go low on their hand from time to time. So Zan most likely going to be trying to catch that while he can. However, it is going to be tricky. Purple does draw so many cards. It's not like normal
Hmm.
blue decks where they go really low and then they have to wait a minute before they can Tala and do all this other stuff to get cards back in their hand. We have friends on the other side, and we have lamps and things like that that will draw us cards. So interesting. I mean, I don't know much about this matchup, to be honest. I don't know who would be favored, especially in this kind of concoction. So
I
um
mean, if every game goes like it just did, I can't imagine a world where the Emerald Steel player is favored because, like you said, you're drawing, you got answers for evasives for days. Like you have the ability to refill your hand. Like you can, if they exert, you got the ability to rush in now because you got this croquet mallet. You got the
mm,
ability to play Hades, so you can get through Space Pirate Pete. You got answers to whatever they're trying to do. If they discard you, you have the ability to draw. You can quest too. You got heavy questing guys. These Jafaris are questing for 2 as well. So and the genies are questing for 2 as evasive threats. So you can get aggressive and just win the game, or you can play this out value game. So I like Hayes' spot here, but I will never bet
mm,
against Zan because I do think he's one of, if not the strongest player in Disney Lorcana right now, and
sure.
he's doing his thing. So I can't I won't bet against him. But it's going to be an uphill battle, I feel, as we start turn 1 Diablo, getting a sneak peek of the hand. That hand looks great. Oh my goodness, that hand looks good.
Yeah, it does look like a great hand, and Zan, I'm sure, recognizing that as well. As you can see, Zan trying to do a little jingle in his head so he can memorize the cards there, since there are no note takings in Lorcana. But
Mhm.
he does get a good peek here, which is important. I think information in this matchup is going to be the key for Zan. I think game one may have caught him up, caught him off guard. Obviously Zan didn't draw that well either, but just not knowing what your opponent's doing is definitely something that can catch you by surprise. Zan a little more ready for it this game, right? He knows what's going on. He gets the peak with the Diablo. So now it's just a matter of, can he, pull off his plan here? Can he do the shift? Can he do the whole Hidden Cove? It looks like Hidden Cove is in his hand. So he's gonna put the Diablo in, and does he have the shift package? I don't
Mhm.
know if he does.
I don't
Oh,
I
he
don't I
does.
don't s I don't see the shift line, but Hayes being very heads up switched on, putting that friend on the other side down to the inkwell just to play around a potential Ursula on 2 into a shift Diablo into the cove. Now, that shift Diablo into the cove, shift Diablo probably wouldn't have been as bad, but shift Diablo in the cove is gonna be tough, and it's singing a sudden chill. So your Genie Elsa combo, we're gonna probably have to team up to clear this Diablo a little bit sooner than expected as you're thinking
Zan
about what
hit
you're going to discard.
the 15 card combo here. He hit the turn one Diablo into the shift, into the cove, into the sing the song. So
Hmm.
that is as good as an opener as you can ask for if you're Zan. So let's see if it pays off for him. It might take Hayes a little bit of time before he's able to deal with this Diablo, and the Diablo is just going to be ticking up on cards and giving Zan more and more answers. So going to be interesting to see if Mikey's able to maybe croquet mallet his way into something that can maybe take care of this Diablo here.
For sure. As we'll just still have to take a turn to sell the
Yep.
Azerite C, we will be giving Zan a little bit more cards, as that does
Mm,
say draw, as we'll
yep.
take that remaining ink to set up this croquet mallet and not the popsicle. Probably not trying to feed Zan yet another card with that exerted Diablo. So this
For
spot
sure.
is looking much, much, much better for the world's qualified DLC champion who's
Mm.
on his way. Let's see what we do here next. Going to third turn, maybe get a peek down and just kind of keep these actions off the table. I'm not sure what actions this deck can play, but just having those stats on the board might be pretty good.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's crazy what a turn to shifted Diablo in a Cove could do, right? I mean, it's just going to be absolutely a powerhouse against Haste here as he gets another lore in from this, or gets a lore rather. The other he's saying last turn, so he gets a lore in from Diablo, gets a Pete down to make sure that there's no shenanigans going on there, and then draws
Hmm.
himself a new card now. As goes back over to Haste, who potentially could play. I don't think he's playing Pan Shadow, or excuse me, Peter Pan or anything like that because of Uninkables. So even if he did, actually, I'm realizing that Diablo is a 3/3, so it's going to be
Right.
it's going to be tricky to see if Hayes can deal with this fast enough before it gets out of control.
And Croquet Mallet does not give any type of enhancement. It just gives a rush. So
Mm,
even that genie coming in cannot reach into the cove to grab that Diablo out of there. It's gonna You can put some damage on it, and then you'll probably lose your genie next turn. But I still think it might be. I mean, you're gonna give Zan another card, but potentially just setting up that genie right now to kind of give yourself a chance potentially, or you could potentially get the lamp set up into a genie into a bounce Diablo. Perhaps I don't know. It's gonna be a tough spot, man. Diablo and Cove is very very difficult and still super obnoxious and annoying.
Okay, so there's the genie. As some people in chat mentioned, had it not been for the cove, genie could have rushed in there and
Hmm.
dealt with Diablo. But being that Diablo is a little bigger than normal, genie will just have to sit there and watch as Diablo gets to ready yet again, and
Hmm.
Zan gets another turn with a Diablo healthy in play. So it's going to be a lot of cards here for Zan. I see him flipping through quite the selection here, and I'm not sure how many cards Mikey has in hand, but I would imagine they're starting to dwindle.
Oh, and another hypnotize comes in. We're just gonna rip. I believe that's Jafar, the
Mm.
tyrannical hypnotist. I believe that's his code name or something like that. The big one, the big
The
evasive
big,
guy. I think just
the
goes
big
into the
one.
the big one, the big
That
one.
always reminds me of Toy Story every time somebody says the big one. When he gets the rocket in the mail and he's like,
Yeah,
"It's here, the big one."
and
So we pass it back over here. Oh, excuse me, we don't pass it back over here. We're singing a song here with Pete. Oh no, we're
no,
questing
we're
with
just gonna
Pete.
quest. You get a nice quest in with both of these glimmers here as Pete and Diablo will quest again as Diablo will get yet another card, keeping this advantage train rolling. This is where it looks like Diablo is bannable when he's in these types of spots, hanging out in the hidden cove, doing his absolute thing. So
Mm,
now you do have an opportunity to clear this Diablo finally in the name of Elsa. I believe you have Elsa the Fifth Spirit is in hand. You can go Elsa Genie into Diablo. I think you got to get him out of here. He's been doing way too much heavy lifting. And if you want a chance, I think it starts by clearing Diablo here.
yeah, it's definitely got to start there, right? Diablo is just the longer he sits and play, the harder this game is going to be to win. So we definitely need to close out. That cove needs to go away, and so does the Diablo. We can't deal with the cove quite yet, but we will just go ahead and take out Diablo. And fortunately, stack 3 damage on each of our dudes here. But the popsicle will help us clean up just a little bit. So now we've got
Mhm.
some evasives in play that Zan is not able to deal with right away. So suddenly, hey, he's not looking so bad. Now he's got some threats in play that can quest, and it's back in Zan's court whether or not he can, appropriately respond here.
For sure. But we are kind of working ourselves into this shift Robin Hood sing or potentially
Mm,
set up this Ursula deceiver you have in hand for a potential song later on.
yep.
But I think shift Robin Hood, you got Bruno in hand. Hayes is getting kind of low on resources. So this is an interesting turn that we're going to kind of identify that might be a critical decisive action as the game state is semi neutral.
Mm.
I would say Zan is favored, but I still think the game is quite neutral. We will go for three, get the Robin Hood down, and he's going to prepare to sing something. What's the song? Maybe it's the Zeus to clear that genie.
It is, yep, absolutely the Zeus, absolutely, and it does take out that genie, which is great. Now Hayes, if he was planning on maybe adding a lamp to the table here, will not be able to use the effect to get that genie effect, and obviously, no Jafar quite yet either. So, yeah, Mikey not seeing the pieces he needed like he did in game one. I do
Mm,
see a McDuck Manor get added to the hand here. I'm not sure how good that'll be in this position, considering that Cove is just boosting up everything. It's going to be real easy to clear that location without having another character in play. So yeah, Mikey, tricky spot here. He's gonna go ahead and sing "Let It Go." That's a good place to start,
hmm You
and
are
we'll
gonna
put away.
you're
Yeah.
gonna double ramp Zan in that process, but I think it might even be beneficial just to kind of get your hand expunged right now. Just set up both of these cards and not even worry about it. Put that lamp out. I don't think you have to ink to put the lamp out. My bad. As you're gonna have one in hand hypnotize or sudden chill here is the slight punish, but it
Mm.
is what it is at this point. As we're gonna get another quest. No, we're gonna sing it to clear the Elsa.
Sig and clear the Elsa. Draw us another card. That's always good. And now we have all the ink of our turn to do whatever we like. Sand starting with a Diablo. He wants to check things out. Ooh, it is a lamp.
Mm-hmm.
So he's like, all right, do I feel like discarding that or not?
And
Can't
oh,
quite
and
see. Oh,
talk
we're
about a
gonna go
dockening.
the dockening.
The dockening has
The
happened.
dockening is happening, and it looks like he drew into a Ursula and potentially a Diablo shift, I believe.
So
So we're just
Ursula and Diablo are going to be in hand. And you're going to pass back on over as you have this very threatening deceiver of all up. And Hayes has to be feeling quite bad about it. I think this game might be a bit untenable. I can't see your ink, but you're not even at the top end
hmm,
of your strat. You're kind of cut off here before you can continue to advance. So you might have to just take a few turns off, literally just inking cards and passing. But you get a great top deck in the name of friends on the other side which is beautiful for you. I think you might have to ink and just keep the friends rolling potentially.
Mm. Yep. Frez goes into the inkwell, and we pass it right back. And Zan scare us. His table's looking pretty scary, as we say, what happens in the cove stays in the cove, and there's a lot happening in the cove right now. There is a whole party going on in there, and Mikey is not invited as he gets the last card of his hand discarded to this hypnotize, which will draw Zan yet another card here, and Mikey is in Zan's world now with no
Yeah.
cards in hand and just staring down a very menacing board on Zan's side.
With one little baby manor that is just sitting there doing not much of anything. You can even put all these characters into that hidden cove that you have, base boost them, and I believe that should be enough to clear this
Mm.
McDuck Manor, and you will do so here as the
Yep.
Ursula finishes it off, and you'll play another Ursula just for good measure. Both
Oof.
players are empty-handed, but Zan's board is massive as he's got a
Oof.
ton of cards on the field of play.
Yeah, so this is the total opposite, right? HaZeD game one did all the tricks, all the things, and Zan kind of just had to sit there and watch. And this feels like the reverse of that, right? Zan is doing everything that this deck is meant to do, and HaZeD's just not able to find the pieces to compete this game as Zan just continues to have his way with Mikey's table here and continues to clear everything, clear the hand, clear the table, and it's looking like a pretty bad spot here for HaZeD
For
as
sure.
Zan gets to take another turn here.
What is the time like? What timeline would you start considering just scooping up to save time? Because we have 24 minutes left. You will be on the play again, and this
Sure.
thing you could drag this out. Zan's only sitting at 5, but I believe this position is lost, and we know that time. No one likes to go into time and losing time. But what are your thoughts on that? I know a lot of people have different ways of thinking about it.
Of course, yeah, I'm a firm believer of like when it's over, just let's get it moving.
Hmm.
Mikey does have the advantage of maybe seeing a few more cards out of Zan's hand, although I don't see Zan playing anything like super unconventional, so I don't know how much that's going to help in that sense. But yeah, I mean, Mikey pretty much, I think, not to be rude, but he could pretty much scoop it up at any point here,
Hmm.
and I think it would be acceptable. And I feel like we're getting, yeah, there it is
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, we
Okay.
were getting to that point, and he heard you through the commentary and said,
Yeah.
"All right, you're right, JD. Let me scoop this up and get on to game three." But
For
we have
sure.
HaZeD now taking the play, which may or may not make a difference in this match. I'm hoping that we get to see both players do their thing instead of just one or the other. So I'm
Hmm.
hoping this game three is a little closer on both ends. But what do you think, JD? What do you think of this Blurple deck so far?
I like what I'm seeing. I'm already waiting on this list to come out because I might sleeve this up and take this to my set championship tomorrow. I think I'm gonna go play in one myself. I might
Looks like
just
a lot
load
of
this
fun.
deck. It seems like a whole lot of fun. It seems spicy. It seems creative. It seems neat. And I'm definitely gonna take this thing right on to Net Deck City right before I get to Scoopville. I think I might be scooping a lot because I might get cooked because it seemed like something that's not very intuitive. It might be something you have to be in
Sure.
line with. I don't think there's a guide that exists for it. I might just grab it and just see what happens. It looks incredibly fun. But I do appreciate the scoop from HaZeD. I thought that was a heads up as well. You have to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Get into
Hmm.
this round number 3, going on the play with 22 minutes left. I think is super optimal because you do not want to go into time to lose this or get some kind of draw situation.
For sure, yeah. And neither of these guys are looking for a draw here. And Mikey, he knows what's up. He's a great player. He's a very respectable player down here, and he's not going to drag this on longer than it needs to. I think that we'll have no problem resolving this game in the next 22 minutes or so.
Hmm.
Both these decks are a little on the slower side when it comes to their win conditions, but I'm pretty confident that both these players are going to play at a reasonable pace, and we'll get it
Absolutely.
all taken care of here. We
And
will have
and
a
yeah.
victor.
In the constraints of time. And it seemed like both of these players, they're not playing slow at all. I mean, they're playing at a nice, reasonable pace,
For
and they're
sure.
getting it done. They're having a good time. I love these face cams so you can see the reaction. You see, there's no malice or real intent or anything like that. And that's one thing I really love about these communities and going to these tournaments. There's no like bad blood. It's all just good energy all around. Even when you're
For
winning,
sure.
even when you're losing, it's all just good vibes all around. And I absolutely love that. As Zan is getting those quality shuffles in. Hopefully, if I'm Zan, I'm just wanting to do exactly what I just did that last round.
Oh yeah,
Get
that's the way to go. I mean, if you could hit the 5 card opener, that's definitely a good day for you. Let's see if Zan. I believe he pitched his whole hand last game. But I saw somebody in chat said they pitched the whole hand. I don't know if it was Mikey or Zan, but one of them pitched their whole hand here. So if it was Zan, then wow, that's a hell of a pitch.
Yeah.
And if it was Mikey, then hopefully he finds a better combination this time around. So let's see what
I mean,
happens here.
these green steel players, they live and die by this throw seven. They'll throw seven like it's their job, dude. They're looking for that shift Diablo. They'll hold a baby bird, send for the big birds, set up. They want it bad.
I've seen
And
Zam do some pretty sick mole sevens in his career, at least on camera. I mean, he's I forget what tournament was that he also mold seven. I think he was also playing green steel, and I mean, he was just cooking people
he's
like
going for
mole
it again.
seven.
Look at that. We got a six piece coming up right now. It looks
Yeah,
like.
a six piece. There it is. A
Look at that.
little six piece tendy right there. Boom, boom, boom. All right, you would imagine the card he kept is some form of Diablo, which you can see it
Oh,
is.
look, he might be punched there
And
a bit as you got three big birds and no little bird there. As that, I think that's what
mm,
happened there.
yeah, looking like a whole lot of Sesame Street going on there in Zan's hand. And unfortunately, that's not going to quite get us there. Let's see what Mikey had. A little hard to see what he's got. Sorry, I'm working with a smaller screen here. Let me see what he's got. Let me look in here.
Same thing.
What you got, Mikey? What you got?
I'm in small mode. I think small mode is working for me as your hand is looking fairly decent over there. You have the ramp. You don't have that turn one popsicle, but you have the bell. So this is going to be
Okay.
an interesting chain of events. It looks like Zan might be holding triple Diablo. No, he's not. He's not. It's just okay. It's just double. It's
Mikey's
just
got
double.
Great Stone Dragon in hand, which is a great card to call out here in this matchup, considering that you would think a lot of cards will be in Mikey's discard, played
Hmm.
against Zan's. Oh, he actually just inks it. Okay, well, there goes everything I was going to talk about.
Yeah.
But I would think that it'd be a great card in this matchup just because you're able to consistently churn out your ink when your opponent is discarding your
Hmm.
characters out of your hand. But Mikey using it for ink here, deciding that he just wants to go ahead and sail, and he values the rest of his hand a little more. So interesting play there.
And it does fit
Zan
your
does have the skill.
your item motif as well. It is a I'm pretty sure you're probably not playing Scrooge or Queen or any of that kind of stuff, but you are
Mm,
playing those Tamatoas and just shifting one in, maybe getting it early like this is probably not the best thing, but getting it late, I mean, you could just continue to get some resources, like you said, when your opponent's discarding you, you're fine with it. As we do get the Diablo down here on two, you have the shift in hand. You could potentially do it, but it would be kind of pointless. You're thinking about how long this thing's going to stick around without that hidden cove.
for
You got
sure.
because next turn, you know, Genie is inbound.
Oh yeah, Genie's coming, and Elsa's right behind him, and we even
Hmm.
have Bell package. We've got all sorts of stuff going on here. So Zan, seeing that that's the case and deciding he'll just kind of give it a second here, as Mikey does run out the Genie, which is a great turn three play here, one of the strongest I think you can do right now in the game, and that's going to hold down the fort for the evasives for quite some time, unless Zan is able to find a cove, which we see that is not currently in his hand. And Zan's hand looking a little clunky. I mean, he's got Ursula. We obviously do have the Diablos, but Hypnotize is not going to quite do it. You don't want to spend the whole turn just,
Yeah,
discarding one card. So we have
especially
Prince John that we could develop, but yeah, it's just a couple of options here for Zan as he fiddles through and figures it out.
yeah, I think if anything, you might have to take this Prince John approach if you're gonna do anything. I think
Hmm.
that's the play, or you can even have this shift Robin Hood line established if you want to go ahead and go there with it. So
Yep.
you do have some options, but they're all
Oh
not
yeah.
that great, honestly.
Yeah. They're all
Versus
great, but
this situation.
it's just not great against the evasives, right? And we know that
Correct.
Elsa's coming next turn. So, if he wants to play that Elsa or Bell, he can tack into something, then play Bell. So, Zen, thankfully, with the perfect information here to know what he's playing around, but just trying to figure out what's the best solution here. And he does go for the Robin Hood line and just
Hmm.
goes ahead and takes his two lore and says, "All right, you can have your Genie, but Genie can't really do much into my Robin Hood, so we'll just go back and forth on the race here."
Now the question is, do you send this Elsa into this baby bird, or do you preserve it to try to engage with this Diablo or potentially something else? I'm not sure. So you do have your singer established though in the form of Robin Hood. You'll be able to get your we don't talk about Bruno off after your Prince John. So that is going to be another plus that you can get next turn and take a little bit of tempo away from your
Mhm.
adversary. That's a very common thing. Robin Hood seems quite
Mhm.
good in this deck now. He was there
Yeah.
for a while and he left, and now it seems like he's
Well,
quite back.
he wasn't great into these coil decks or these
Hmm.
Medusa decks, those decks where Medusa was just absolutely, destroying Robin Hood. So
Absolutely.
now that these red decks are kind of slimming down on these Medusas or even just red decks in general, it is prime time for Robin Hood to make his reappearance in this steel meta. So I think it's a lot more decks are going to be seeing playing Robin Hood for the time being until we roll around
Oh,
to
for
Reign of
sure.
Jafar. But yeah, definitely a great inclusion.
Yeah, Coyle was feasting on the champion of
Mm.
Sherwood Forest too, man. It was
Oh yeah.
absolutely dominating Robin
You
Hood
go
for a
through all
long
this
time.
work, you shift them out, and they're just like, all right, play a card, it's dead. So, yeah, it's pretty bad. But we do see the Lamp joining the table here. Lamp unable to bounce both the Robin Hood and the Prince John here. So no current value that we can get off the Lamp. But if a Jafar joins the table at any point, we will be able to go ahead and draw two. So
And you
Hayes
can tell
quests
that's
up.
what Hayes is thinking about here.
Yeah.
I think you're thinking about potentially setting up that Jafar to come in now to potentially bounce his Robin
Ooh,
Hood back to hand, and you
interesting.
will.
He bounced his own genie
Oh,
back to hand.
no, you didn't. Okay,
Inter-
okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong feed. I gotta lock in, dude. I'm over here sleepwalking. Let me put this over here. I'm
You're on the
looking at the
wrong. You're watching a different game.
I'm
Yeah.
on the wrong feed, dude. Here we go. We got the right feed up now.
Come
Scanner, I'm
on,
so
man.
sorry. I'm locked
Come
in
on,
now.
man. Lock JD. Come
I
on,
gotta
dude.
lock in, dude. I am so
Lock
sorry.
in, dude. But yeah, we have yeah, we bounced the genie back to hand since we could not target the Robin Hood or the John here. So but now Hypnotize will take a card away from Mikey as well as give two new cards to Zan. And we do see some removal making its way into Zan's hand. Some Storm Rage on, or excuse me, some Strength of a Raging Fires in hand, which will be good if Zan's able to build up a wide board here. But right now, Zan out of ink for the turn. So I don't see him able to play much of anything else. Maybe just ink something and pass.
Mm.
And that's
Because
what he's thinking about.
he did not ink the last, I want to say the last two turns. He's still kind of trapped at 3 ink. He hasn't
Hmm.
inked in since that Robin Hood turn, and you still have
Hmm.
this Bruno set up. So you could put no, I think you got rid of the Bruno. So now I don't think you have that. Yeah, you don't have the Bruno anymore. I'm sleepwalking over here as you are going to ink the strength of a raging fire and just continue to pass, showing a
Yeah.
lot of tactical patience, man. This is what it takes.
Yeah.
Just sit there and stall a little bit until the game develops a little bit more in your favor, trying to clear the way for this Diablo to get into the field.
For sure. Yeah. You definitely don't want to quest here with your Robin Hood, considering that this Jafar could just get so huge out of nowhere. I mean, every card in your hand is a strength for him. So we don't want him to just go ahead and trade into our Robin Hood. Very heads up play from Mikey to bounce his genie, gets him another card here, which is really nice. And he's going to go ahead and be able to play himself maybe a crab here. Is that what he's looking at? Yeah.
Yeah.
So crab.
But put the up tempo crab, not even a surprise attack crab, just trying to continue to flood the board in quest
Yep.
as you're identifying that Zan is not aggressing you. So maybe you can start putting the pressure on Zan, who
For sure.
finally gets to that hidden cove. You don't have your shift line available any longer, but still cove could be some value to help protect some of your characters. Your hand
Mm.
is bulky though. What do you think the play here is for Zan? This is tough, man.
Yeah, Zan's just kind of dealing with a lot of I mean, he started with a lot of uninkables. He's finally finding ink, but just not the cards you need. Like Ursula here, Mikey, not heavy on actions, if any. I mean, he's got friends on the other side, but other than that, don't know what actions Mikey would have in his deck. So that's gonna be a whiff there. And that's two ink gone, right? So you've got
Hmm.
two more ink, potentially a third ink if you ink one of these cards in your hand, but you've got two Diablos that are just clunking up your hand. Yeah, it's tough for
Yeah,
Zan
they're
here. I mean,
dead. They're DOA too. They can't really do anything, especially when you see that accomplished mystic is just in hand. You cannot exert at all. You just kind of
no,
gotta sit here because if you exert any of your characters, you can get completely bamboozled by anyone else and get that that Bizarro Land Rapunzel play to come off and blast another character that you have on the board. So very, very, very tough spot. Zan's gonna have to do a lot to negotiate to this as you get another strength of a raging fire. I think that might be a good tool to use to help clear this board a little bit.
oh
But
yeah,
if Hayes can keep piling these threats, man, I think he's going to be in a comfortable spot to just seal this deal as you're sitting at 6 lore.
for sure. Yeah, and this crab is making a big difference as well, right? Like if he decides to do anything with this Robin Hood, the crab could always attack into it, pump something else. So it sets up a lot of ways to deal with his board, which is unfortunate for Zan. And as he continues to play these evasives, it's going to be tough for Zan to try to deal with all of them. Obviously, we do see he's trying to just right now build up a board that will allow him to Strength of a Raging Fire something here.
Hmm.
Get him a little bit back on the board. But right now, Mikey getting another turn to just have his way with Zan, and there's a lot of ink on Mikey's end here, so it's going to be really interesting to see if he's able to put some pieces together. We see Popsicle, Tamatoa, So those are all things that I don't want to see if I'm Zan.
Correct. I'm taking your play a lot, Skinner. If I'm Mikey, I'm flooding this board. I'm continuing to put as many threats into the field of play as humanly possible, and just force Zan to start engaging with me as you bring out the happy as a clam,
Oh
and
yeah.
then you can play the lamp here.
Oh
You
yeah.
can. Who are we bouncing? Are we bouncing at all? Or are we just going to quest up?
He might bounce the crab and then give the crab buff to something, which is actually super crazy.
Look at that.
So bounces the crab back. It's not useful at the moment, but still a really cool trick. Cool
Yeah.
little party trick there as he bounces it back and gets himself a free lure there essentially from the crab. And now he's got a bigger crab in play, and
Little
that crab is going to be quite problematic here.
little crab formation, a crab transformation there, as
Absolutely.
you do a little bit of ninja shadow clone pop in as crab for crab. But still, I think that was a little bit of a low tempo maneuver on your own end, but that crab does represent a threat in hand, as
Hmm.
Zan just cannot exert for anything. Like, all of his characters have to stay ready. Maybe if you have music or something, you can start bouncing your own stuff, as a second copy of Prince John is about to come into the field of play, it looks like.
Yeah, I think the line he's looking at here is Prince John, and then use the Robin Hood to sing Bruno.
Hmm.
Whether or not he's going to hit the Tamatoa or one of the evasives remains to be seen, but that will draw him 2 cards and remove a threat from the board. So I think that might be what Zan's looking at, but there's not much more you can do after that. But this play will draw Zan 2 cards, which is 2 cards deeper into the deck.
For
And
sure.
right now, that's what's keeping Zan afloat. These extra cards he's been drawing off of Prince John have been really putting in overtime for Zan to keep him in this game.
And you do have a nice full value strength of rage and fire too that is set up. So you
Hmm.
can, in theory, blast this board. You can Bruno this
Hmm.
genie, or this Jafar, to help change that up a little bit. So preventing a potential shift line. I guess you got to break that up. And you can also sing some strength here to take out another threatening character, but you will expose that Prince John. I don't know if that's going to be worth it.
Number 4.
Oh,
And it is
it's a
a
lamp.
lamp, which not terrible feeling for Mikey, considering he has ways to get that back. So
Hmm.
although I'm sure he would have liked to have that lamp, it's not the worst case scenario. So he will have an opportunity to replay that Jafar if he needs to. And you can see in his hand, he does also have another lamp. So definitely worst, best case scenario for Mikey in this situation for sure. And yeah, Zan's just the cogs are turning in Zan's head. He's just trying to creep his way out of the situation. Obviously, it hasn't been looking good for Zan on the table, but Zan doing as Zan does and just taking every little crumb he can and making it into a whole meal, as you
And
would.
finding a way, and you are going to go ahead and rid the world of this genie by singing strength of rage and fire with the Prince John. He will be exposed for a potential crackback challenge, as we'll ink the little baby bird. Who we putting out here? Hard cast, another strength.
Yeah, it's a couple of options here. He can play the removal, run out a Diablo if he so chooses, but I think he's going to be using some removal here. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So all of a sudden,
Yeah,
not looking too shabby.
you've kind of
It's
re
crazy what a couple of Strength of the Raging Fires will do, huh?
Oh, for sure. You've reclaimed the power position of this board, as your board has been expanded. You've now been able to ink quite freely. Looking at Hayes' hand, you know that Jafar is in there. Maybe get a croquet mallet, send that Jafar in on a little bit of
Never
a
thought
some.
we'd be calling for the croquet mallet draw, but yeah, it would be pretty clutch at the moment. Absolutely.
It would be nice, but I think you gotta start clearing down this board. But you're kind of falling into Zan's game just a little bit. Oh, you got that bell set up too. You can do some cool stuff with that. Let's see what you got here.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's gonna be tricky. These two Prince Johns just cause such a nuisance. Like you can attack into them right now if you need to, but you wouldn't be able to like attack the Robin Hood and then transfer the damage to the John or like anything cute
yeah.
like that because that ward is gonna keep it protected. But Mikey just going ahead and starting with a Jafar here. Still has 4 ink available, and
And
okay, I think he's gonna take his draws here.
okay, just to get a few more cards into the hand. Now you have 2 ink left. Are you just going to get more cards? You could sell the Azurite Sea if you felt so inclined.
Hmm.
But I still think you got to take this last print, this exerted Prince John. I think you got to get him out of here. But it might just be playing right into Zan Syed's game. And I'm sure Mikey's not trying to fall for it. You will get another card. Taking another sale. Is it just seeing now? I don't know, man. These decisions are tough, tough, tough.
For sure. And as we mentioned, both these players playing at a very reasonable pace, and we're getting down to the wire here. We got 6 minutes left on the clock here, and both these players, although they are back and forth, none of them in a clearly dominant winning position yet.
Hmm.
So this really could still go either way. Hayes is up on lore at the moment, but Zan's slowly crawling back. These Prince Johns really keeping him in the game as he just hypnotized into hypnotize and just slowly clawed his way back into some cards here, which got him some removal. And now we're pretty much playing fair ball, but Zan's hand again not looking super impressive here, but that
Hmm.
hasn't stopped him before. So let's see what he ends up with here.
For sure. As we
Okay,
are going to
double
get
Diablo.
another flood, big Diablo flood coming in. Notice
Yep,
Hayes didn't really do anything with that Tamatoa, happy as a clam, leaving him upright and active. And now
yeah,
your board is complete massive. What do
that's
you got
tough.
over
Yeah,
there for Hayes? Do you have something that you can do to kind of get loose on this board? I mean, a Hades or something. You need something to kind of get after these characters because Zan is trying to outmaneuver you as he has established two Diablos and his Robin Hood, I think, is still a threat. Hard cast friends. Dang.
yeah, and it goes to show patience is the name of the game, right? Like, if I was in Zan's position, I would have thought I lost a long time ago, to be honest.
Hmm.
And Zan just keeping calm, keeping composed. He's been in this position 100 times already, and just slowly building up his board. As you can see, he's not questing. He's not trying to rush this game. He's just trying to take his time, make good trades, make good decisions. And so far, it's been working wonders for him as he continues to truck away here. He just draws a storm into another storm,
Storm in the storm, man. Just
which
like you
is
drew it up.
that's rough. Yeah,
To,
that's rough right there. But
to,
we have another John in hand, a Robin Hood, and an Ursula. So no more discard, which is nice to see, considering that those Johns just drawing so many cards. But he's
oh,
gonna go for it right now, and he's gonna
now
try
we're
to see.
triple
Oof.
Johnning and Ursulaing. Ooh, 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 man. This is looking Zan. I think Zan is slowly starting to turn the corner. 5 minutes left in the round, 4 minutes and 20 seconds and counting. So we still should be able to get a photo finish here. But it seems like Zan is getting from a down position to a now a down bad position to an up good position. Diablo drawing two, a discard off the
Mm,
tizzy, and you're on your way back in. Hayes is getting a little bit stunned. It's got to make something
for
happen here
sure.
soon.
For sure. Yeah, Hayes is definitely not feeling the way he was feeling a little while ago. I mean, slowly, like I said, Zan just crawling back into this game. And now it's bad. When the Johns start turning sideways for lore,
Hmm.
that's a bad sign. That means that Zan sees an opening here, and he's going to go for it as he just goes ahead and quests up to 11. He's going to get multiple draw triggers here off these Diablos,
And he
and
got
all
some
of a
discard
sudden,
too.
yeah, it's not looking. I mean, Hayes finally finds himself a Hades, which would have been so good many turns ago to deal with this Robin Hood, but unfortunately, now he's got a lot of lore in play with these Diablos, these Johns, these Ursulas. There's so much that Zan has in play, so it's going to be tough to see. And if he does play this sudden chill that he has in his hand, he's drawing three now, so it's absurd. So
Okay.
we'll go ahead and crab and take out that Robin Hood, which will draw yet another card for Zan.
This is tough.
Oof.
I think
Yeah,
you gotta start peeling off these Prince Johns because they quest for two and they're gonna make this sudden chill draw three. You cannot risk that. I think this Tamatoa Heavy as a Clan has been sitting here as a feature of the board for a while. He hasn't really done much. We'll just ramp one of these Diablos with this Infernal Schemer. Is there a downside to this? You going into the Inkwell is going to be what my response is to Haiti the Infernal Schemer, as Diablo is gone. But now I think you got to clear these Prince Johns if you want a chance, or
oh
you
yeah.
can start trying to quest.
Yeah, I think we gotta kill these Johns, right? Like, we gotta banish the Johns. We cannot have give Zan an opportunity to draw 3 cards if he sudden chills. It's just too much backbreaking pressure.
Hmm.
I know he's really hesitant about turning this Tamatoa sideways, but I think we need to crush this John, man. I think we have to. It's tough. I know he doesn't wanna lose it, but we're in a position here where, yeah, we gotta get rid of these Johns.
For sure.
Okay, so not the end of the world here. We're looking good. What is this shiny card that Zan has in play? Do you know what it is?
That I believe that is that's the other Prince John. That's the third Prince John that's kind of
Okay,
hanging
so the
out
3rd
there.
John. The
He's
3rd
blink.
John,
He's
okay.
all blinged out. That was that third
Yeah.
John. You cleared two. You got one left. As Zan is holding on to that triple sudden chill. Oh, oh, oh! As just three
See,
cards that you
imagine
want
if
to
he
take a whole
wouldn't have
turn off.
attacked the John. It would have been dead to rights here.
Yeah.
So he's gonna go ahead and get
Oh,
another sing in.
oh, brutal.
That feels bad.
Okay, so that's not a third sudden chill. At least you got that going for you.
Yeah,
And
Zeus.
checking out this board. I mean, this spot is still it's pretty bad. Okay, this is pretty bad for HaZeD, pretty good for Zan, but still tenable. I mean, if you get some bodacious top decks, you can kind of get back into it as Zan is going to continue to flood the board yet again. I can't quite see what those other two cards look at. Robin Hood and another Diablo. You hate to see that as we are still starting to run this race, getting up to 14. When you see Zan question with that much confidence, you have to be like, okay, I think I'm in a situation here. Another Hades is pretty great. This Bale is pretty good. So this might be
Yeah,
a way to turn it around a little bit.
all these cards are good, but we need a way to deal with these evasives, right? Like these Diablos are going to keep questing. That's not going to be good, and Zan is closing in. He's at 14 here. So we don't have a lot of time left literally because we're
Mhm.
at 40 seconds, but we also don't have a lot of time left on the board. Zan closing the game out pretty quickly here. And it's gonna be up to Hayes to see if he can
How
catch
much
up
ink
on
how
board
much
here.
ink does HaZeD have? Does he have 12? Does he have enough to go Bell
It's still
and
pretty
Hades in the same
slow.
turn? It's
3,
3,
5,
5. There's that 7 left over
9,
there.
10, 9 looks like 10 maybe.
Oh
9 or 10.
man.
I think 10
That could
maybe.
that could have been a dynamic play of the Bell and Hades together, but I just don't think he got it. So you're gonna have to go for the Hades. Hades probably has to yeet this Robin Hood, I would imagine, get him out of here, and then you
Mhm.
have to just start challenging down some of these remaining characters. This Jafar really isn't doing a whole lot of much, as you'll clear the Prince John. And are you trying to set yourself up for some kind of quest? I think you got to see keep clearing. Let's clear the rest of this stuff if you can. These two Ursulas for sure, and leaving with two Diablos, and we're questing.
Oh, he's
We're racing.
questing.
Okay, so you're
Okay.
putting Lorthel in play. Never mind, forget I said anything. As now
Okay.
Zan has to answer some questions here. Yeah,
That's
what a
something that I catch myself doing this a lot where I get so focused on stopping my opponent from winning that I don't
Mhm.
realize that you could just go. Like
That's
just turn sideways and put it on their court, you know? Like
that's
I was
my
so locked in on
exactly.
like you said, the Ursulas, like, oh, I gotta get rid of that, I gotta get rid of this. Mikey says no, I'm just gonna turn sideways, you gotta get rid of this. So it's gonna be really interesting to see if Zan is able to maneuver here.
I like that a
Oof.
lot, and I do that all the time. I get so focused, hyper focused on what I need to do to not lose instead of
Mhm.
trying to just win. You play to win the game. Get to
Oh
20
yeah,
and be done with it.
happens
So
all the
Hayes
time.
Hayes identified that position very well and puts Zan into a conundrum. You have this Zeus, but your singer is gone, and I guess you're gonna have to hard cast it either way. And look at this
Yep.
Hades. He's gonna acquire so many cards to clear. No
Oh
clean outs for
yeah.
this guy.
Oh yeah, and this purple Jafar has been doing his thing too, questing for two.
Hmm.
I know he's kind of a meme, but he's been hanging in there, crashing into stuff, and he's presenting two lore right now, which is really really big. Ooh, he's got the dock, very big. Ooh, Robin Hood and
Hidden Cove.
Hidden Cove. Oh boy,
So this
what?
might be GG. What do we got to do here? So you got to send a lot of units into Hayes' board in order to continue this game. I think you got to trade everything in. It looks like as Zan is
Oof,
starting to sweat just a little bit with that
oof.
80 sitting in reserve as well.
Oh my god, what a game this game has been. I asked for this, right? I said, I hope game 3, both players get to do the thing, and they both did, and it's been an absolutely phenomenal game so far. I mean, at both points, I've thought, okay, there's no way Zan wins. Oh wait, there's no way Mikey wins, and now anybody can still win, which is those are the best kind of games for sure. So, oh gosh,
Oh,
Zan cranking it. Oh, he's thinking.
I haven't looked at the deck list, but if Zan does play a go-go here, if he had a go-go, that would be so
Oh, that
insane.
would be pretty crazy. I mean, he is. I mean, I haven't seen him play Pete, the Pirate Pete's, which is
And
Mikey
his
got
hand
it.
goes out, and here's the Bruno, little too little,
Oh my
little too late.
goodness. Mikey
Incredible
taking
match.
it down. Get
Oh my god.
hype.
Yeah.
Blurple items. Get hype, JDZ.
I'm
Are we
lit, dude.
are we
I'm l
is set
I am
champs ruined? Did we just ruin set champs?
is that the plug? Is your set champs destroyed?
That's it.
Oh, Blurple
Blurple just
items, new
destroyed your
best deck
set
in
champ.
Lorcana? Thoughts?
Wow. Wow.
Oh,
Wow,
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 wow, wow.
wow.
I enjoyed that
Absolutely
match a lot.
phenomenal game. Yeah, I'm so glad that we got to watch that game together because that's something you're not going to see every day for sure. Blurple items, croquet mallet, just
The
all of the
lamp.
good stuff.
And I think Zan was doing a fantastic job of trying to turn the corner, getting it around. But I think Mikey Hayes did an even better job of identifying that position, knowing when to quest. Notice how he kept that Tamatoa around. He showed a lot of
Mm,
discipline there. I would have had that bad boy exerted,
yeah,
slamming in the cars much earlier, lost it, and I would end up losing my overall win condition. So that showed
discipline.
a little bit of discipline, a little bit of gamesmanship from both of those players.
A
Clearly, two
lot.
players who are in touch with the game, in tune with their color combinations, and it was a spectacle to see. So Zan does go down. Hayes goes on to 3-0, playing Jafar items. Blurple. What?
Crazy.
What?
Crazy. You didn't have that on your bingo card
I
for
did
sure.
not. I did not.
That is crazy. Yeah, we're going to be cutting to an interview with Mikey in just a sec here, so I'm sure they'll push us off the screen whenever they're ready. But yeah,
I'm sorry.
absolutely incredible matchup from two incredible players. And yeah, I mean, when Mikey showed me the list this morning, I was like, you should have just given me your money, man. I was
Oh,
like,
you
there's no chance. I was like, there's no, because he's so known for building these crazy wacky decks. So I was like, oh boy, it's just another wacky deck, and this wacky deck looks pretty good.
it's kind of popping off. Like
It's
that
it's
deck
kind
popped
of fun.
off. Especially that game
Game
number
one was
one.
actually absurd. Game one was like, oh my god, like he did all the things.
Yeah. Game
Croquet
three, game
Mallet, get
three,
this
he
guy
had to
back.
game three, he had to grind it out a little bit, but that game number
Yeah.
one was actually ridiculous. It kind of popped all the way off game number one.
But like you
But
mentioned, patience, right? Like Zan showed an incredible amount of patience. Just sitting there multiple turns with a bricked hand, essentially just a bunch of uninkables, and
mhm,
just playing a hypnotize, drawing two, playing a hypnotize, drawing two. Like little by little, just kind of grinding it out until he almost put himself in a position to win that game. And
for
I think
sure.
if Zan didn't have like triple Diablo uninkables, he might have been able to win that actual
I
game.
I I
So
I concur, I concur with that. Again,
for
both
sure.
players showing a lot of discipline. Like a lot of times, you get that one Prince John down. He's like, "No, I'm gonna wait, see if I can get another Prince John," and then chain together all of these sudden chills and start questing aggressively when you did to start trying to put yourself in a position to win the game. You play
For
to
sure.
win the game, and I think he did everything he could to win the game given the circumstances that he was under. But also, again, not taking anything away from Hayes. I think he had to negotiate a lot of obstacles that Zan was presenting, and he did that. He did that quite effectively. So
For
incredible
sure.
match all around. This is peak Lorcana action. This is what I live for. This is what I love. Players doing their thing to the best possible capability. I think that is what the game was meant to be, man. Just that's
Not to
that's a
cut
nice
you off,
indicator.
Mr. JD, but just so you know, Red 4 is about to start, and I wanted to get to this interview real quick. So I'm gonna
Okay.
toss it over to Gabe real quick, get a word with our boy Mikey, and then we'll be getting out to round 4, which you're more
All
than
right.
welcome to take your break.
All
So,
right. I will. I
oh,
will. I
are we
will.
skipping interviews? Oh, we're skipping interviews.
Are we skipping me?
Oh,
Am I out of
oh
here? Is
no,
Gabe coming back?
Gabe.
Okay.
There's Gabe right now.
All right, friends, welcome. This is going to be a quick interview because our next round is pairing up. But first of all, congratulations, Mikey. You should be very proud of yourself. Well thought games. I'll tell you right now that what we're saying on stream is you've just ruined set champ. So congratulations for that. Congratulations.
That was the goal. That was the goal.
Yeah. You totally messed up. You totally messed up set champs. So you got to tell us, how did you come up with the idea? How did you get there? Like, walk me through this.
Yeah, quite a few things. Obviously, the Sapphire Amethyst color combo has always been one of my favorites. So just trying to figure out what I could do in this meta that felt really good.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's been very popular now.
Yeah.
Shout outs to JDRR kind of making it, and Ed, those guys making it super popular. So I wanted to put my own flavor on it, and I feel like this Jafar version really helps against discard.
Yes.
Because stuff like Tamatoa can get back your draw engine,
Yeah.
and your draw engine can't get hit by Ursula. Yeah. So it's obviously a Finders Keepers and stuff like that, but this is just a lower cost version. Deck is really fun to pilot. That's the second part of this.
Oh, my God.
There's a lot of crazy lines. I'm very thankful I won the die roll against Zan because he almost turned that on me at the end, too. It was a crazy game 3.
Yeah.
But super, super fun match.
It was insane. You got a huge shout out to Croquet Mallet, huge shout out to the Lamp, and an even a larger shout out to Tamatoa for playing all those for free.
Yeah, exactly.
So what I will share with you is if you were concerned about green steel discard, we do see a lot of green steel, but not all of it's discard. So just be on the lookout for it.
I played 2 green steels so far and won both.
You've won both.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
And that was historically a terrible matchup for Blurple.
Yes.
I also think it's not as bad anymore. There's some tools that have helped, but the Lamp being able to bounce an Ursula before it sings is actually what really changes it for sure.
It's nuts. I hope to see you in the top tables because I want set champs to be ruined.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here for the chaos.
Yeah. It's been so far so good, but It's a long tournament. We're not even halfway through yet,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we'll see what happens for sure.
Yeah. Well, Mikey, the pairings are up.
Thank you.
Get to work. Do
Yeah.
what you got to do. Let's see you back here
Yeah.
in the top 8.
Shout
man.
out Freedom Gaming
Freedom
and
Gaming.
Southside.
Yeah, there you go.